This is Carson Ellers from the Boston Celtics, and you're listening to the Boiler Breakdown podcast hosted by Tanner Lee, Evan Webb, and Andrew Eiler.
It is Monday, March 15th, 2021, and you're listening to yet another episode of the Boiler Breakdown podcast. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-host, Evan Webb. Our other co-host, Andrew Eiler, couldn't join us tonight, so it's just the two-man power trip again, but
Yes, sir.
we'll get through it. How are you tonight, Webby?
It's been a weird day, man. It's been a weird day. Just like, not just in the sports world, I felt it yesterday too. I don't know if it's just a time change or what. And today
I hate the time change.
The time change. You got the cold weather today in Indiana, which was weird. And I had ice on my car at one point today, which I did not think I would see again for another 9 months, hopefully. But we've got a bracket, so that made it feel a little bit better.
That's a great point. It is weird. I mean, like you said, I was home at lunch today and heard a noise. I'm like, what is that noise? It looked down, it's freezing rain against the window. I'm like, oh, great. So I think the temperature is supposed to go up a little tomorrow, so hopefully that's the last we got to deal with that. But like you said, we got a bracket. And I don't know about you, but even looking at a blank bracket that's not filled out is just something so satisfying about it this year.
Yeah, it was I wasn't really thinking a whole lot about the fact that we didn't have one last year. I don't know if it's just because I just thought last year was kind of a lost cause. We weren't going to be in the tournament most likely.
True.
And but like watching the selection show, it was like, holy crap! Like it's back, and it just felt really good. And I was way more amped than I thought I was going to be. I thought, obviously we knew we were safely in the tournament. It was one of those things where just releasing it, and then when we got our seed, I was, usually I'm pretty, no matter what. Draw we get, I'm always nervous. I feel like there's always, even for the high, the better seed, there's always some underdog is gonna knock us off. I'm always too worried, but it was different this year. As soon as it was announced, I was like, let's go, let's just go win.
Well, it's because really, I think we can both agree we've already exceeded our expectations for the year.
Yeah.
So, I'm still staying, even though I love our draw, and we'll get into that. I'm still not letting myself get too far ahead of myself, win one game, and everything else is gravy.
Yeah, it was just, I know we've talked about it a little bit, just how expectations have changed so much this year, and just like all of a sudden you went from, let's just make the tournament, and I don't care if we're a 10 seed, to I think I could see ourselves getting, fluky, let's get to the Elite Eight. Let's get back to the Elite Eight. It's so weird. It's so much fun, and it's going to suck if it comes crashing down on the first day, but who cares? Yeah,
the future's still bright, no matter what, so that's good. It's got to be a different tournament than anything we've ever experienced with
That's
it.
True.
All taking place in Indiana, majority of it in Indianapolis, besides a few games in Bloomington and West Lafayette, but limited, very small crowds, but still, as we saw in the Big Ten tournament and the other conference tournaments, little crowd beats nothing.
Yeah, and I was really surprised at how much you could hear the crowd. They had mics or whatever, but it definitely felt normal. Obviously more normal than it has been. But just, you can tell the players felt it too, because you could definitely tell they were getting more amped up if they were going on a run or whatever it may be. And it was fun. Yeah,
only 8,000 were in there for the Big Ten tournament, Lucas Oil, but with it being such a big arena, that sound's going to carry an echo. Mm-hmm. So it sounded like there was a bunch in there, which it'll be interesting to see how it sounds in some of the other buildings that are the venues for the tournament. But the Boilermakers will be playing in Lucas Oil. That'll be Friday night at 7:45 on TNT against North Texas, the Mean Green. We will get into that matchup and the draw and everything in a little bit. But let's go back to the Big Ten tournament on Friday. Purdue ended up playing Ohio State, who had narrowly defeated, I should add, Minnesota the night before. They got up real big. Minnesota came storming back and just barely got defeated there. So we got Ohio State. What an ugly first half.
Yeah, I unfortunately missed a lot of the second half, so I saw all the crap, but it was just ugly. Obviously it reminded a lot of the Michigan State half, and just in terms of how ugly it was, it reminded me a little bit. What other game was there where we had an awful first half? Now I'm drawing a blank. I feel like there's one more game that we had.
Was it Valparaiso?
Maybe I thought it was another Big Ten game. I could be.
Okay.
Or I guess no, it's the Miami second half. That's what just nothing going our way. Of course, freaking Kyle Young, who's hit like 9 threes all year, hits 3 in a row to start the game, and it just was not. Definitely dug ourselves into quite the hole, and not against a team like Michigan State, who was struggling at the time. It was against a very, very good Ohio State team who definitely wanted to beat us badly.
Well, yeah, Ohio State was out for some revenge, but I will say Ohio State was coming into the Big Ten tournament coming off 4 consecutive losses.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of bad-mouthing them the last 2 weeks, and they proved me wrong during the Big Ten tournament. They showed me that they're tough as nails, even without a good player for them like Kyle Young, who ended up getting hurt against us with a concussion. And who knows if he stays in the game, is able to play a majority of the second half. I don't know if we get as close as we did.
Right.
We'll never know. But the guys kept fighting. I'll give them that, down 18.5. I thought, oh, my gosh, we're going to get our doors blown off for really the first time all year. I mean, Michigan, you can make an argument that was a blowout, but I kind of call it an outlier without playing without Sasha for the first time and only 2 days preparation. Yeah. But no, the guys fought back and forced overtime. And I felt great going into overtime, and we just got cold and they made shots. Really, did you get to see overtime?
I was listening to it.
Okay.
I was listening to it.
I thought the play that changed in overtime was Travion stripped one of their guys at half court, coming down and try to do that Euro step and missed a shot when he could have probably done a jump stop or even passed the ball.
Yeah.
I thought that was a killer because then Ohio State comes down, does their own Euro step, scores, and kind of all the momentum just went on their side. And then you had that Liddell running like a fullback into Sasha. And
that was apparently called a flop by Sean Morris.
Yeah. Got Towns open. He hits that 3 to get him up 4, and then he comes back a little later and banks in a shot. I mean, that's a guy who averages 4 points a game.
Right.
At 12. So just
it
wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, Rob Blackman, when on that Travion play, he said that was crucial. Travion could have probably just tried to maybe try and go around him or just go at it and try to get a little fancy, which we did that a couple times. I don't know if it was the first half or the second half. We tried like a half court lob essentially, and it got picked. I think it was almost like a pick six. Like they came down and then they got a bucket out of it. So it was kind of like a 4-point, maybe even a 5-point swing. Just little things like that. And it was, I think it was even done. I think Hunter threw the pass too, and it was just like, what are we doing? It's not like, and especially in a close game. It's one thing if it was, we're up 10, 12 points, but it was we were already losing at the time or on our way back. But it was just like, come on, let's make the smart play, and especially coming from a junior or a junior. Sort of, that was definitely the most probably frustrating part, was the fact that you had someone, Hunter had 4 points, was 1 of 5 from the field, and Sasha 0 of 4 from the field. I mean, Ohio State, kudos to them and their defense, but I mean, he was 0 for 4 from 3 and played 33 minutes and didn't score a single point. Got 3 fouls, a couple turnovers, had 3 assists and a steal, but it was definitely frustrating.
Yeah, the juniors they haven't played great together as a unit too often, like a complete game, but hopefully that's coming Friday.
We hope.
But, Travion got hot in the second half. He struggled in the first half, but he got going in the second half, and Ohio State didn't have an answer for him. He played well. I thought Ivy played well, at least out of the gate. It kind of seemed like Ivy, especially hitting 3-pointers, he was on fire. Kind of got to that like 15-point plateau, and then we didn't see much, or he was out there but didn't do a whole lot. And then Edey contributed too. Those are the 3 that they're Purdue's best 3 scoring options. And what worries me is we haven't really had anybody else step up as of late.
Right.
Got a comment here.
Sorry, go ahead.
I got a comment here from Ray, one of our avid viewers on Facebook. He says they also overplayed on defense in the first half, which burned us multiple times. Second half was much better.
That's a theme I think we've seen a lot this year, and I think even – I'm not sure if it was the turnovers, the defense that Painter called a little bit alarming at this stage in the year. I can't remember what he said, but that was definitely seemed like a theme for the year, was over helping on defense and leaving a player wide open for 3. We make the joke that it's always some random player who can't hit threes hits it, but it's like if you leave a Division I college player open for 3, I mean they're on scholarship for a reason, so it's not like it's one of us out there shooting.
Here's a fact that's kind of alarming. We allow the opposition to shoot more 3-pointers than anybody in the NCAA tournament field.
Well, it's a good thing we're playing North Texas, who just loves to chuck it.
Right. And that's what I was reading. Somebody who had us going to the Sweet 16 said Purdue's doing ends going to end up being when a team gets hot or gets some friendly rolls. It's like, probably.
A la Little Rock.
Oh, mean, still hurts.
Yeah.
Still hurts. But yeah, so the Boilers came up on the short end, 9-point loss in overtime against Ohio State. But I thought they fight and clawed, and I was glad they forced overtime. But would have loved to get that CBS Saturday matchup against Michigan. That would have been a lot of fun.
Especially a Michigan that was down a key player.
Yeah,
just like with us when they played us.
Yep.
They were without Livers, and they're still a very good team. Is he out indefinitely, or what's the?
They said indefinitely, but I have no idea what that means. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're one I'm a little hesitant to put too far in my bracket right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it can go really either way. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Were you happy to see? I mean, it could be a dumb question, but I was kind of torn. Like, do I want Ohio State to win it all, win the Big Ten tournament? In terms of like the fact that we lost the chance, but it's like, man, we almost beat them. Like that could have been us, getting to it. Like,
I didn't want Illinois to win.
Yeah,
for personal reasons.
Yeah, I feel you.
No, they're a really good team. I think they got the best chance to win it all out of the Big Ten, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Ohio State, like I said, they proved something to me. I mean, they played a lot of basketball over the last week, and I kind of agree with what Brian Newbert says. I mean, screw getting this double bye from now on. I mean, of course, that means you did really well in Big Ten, but we get the double bye every year, and we hardly ever make to Saturday.
Yeah, because it's like you could argue, especially in a league that was this deep this year. Ohio State was the 5th place team in the conference, mostly just because of the tiebreaker with us. But essentially they were a 4th place team. And you're playing a Minnesota team that, granted, yes, I mean the game got tight, but I mean you're playing a lesser opponent in almost like a warm up game for when you get to play one of the top dogs of the conference, and so I can definitely see where getting that one game can definitely help you against a team that's been sitting for a couple of days.
Yeah, but the Big Ten tournament was good overall. I mean,
it was phenomenal.
Of course, we were expecting that. I mean, it was such a good conference season. And the Big Ten got 9 teams in the tournament, including our Boilermakers, who are 4 seed, like we mentioned earlier, going to be playing 13 seed North Texas Mean Green Friday night, 7:45. Lucas Oil in TNT. I like the Lucas Oil draw. The more I think about it, because we already played there one game, so we're kind of used to the shooting backgrounds. Hopefully, we can hit our free throws better in our layups. Those were 2 things that hurt Purdue really bad. Really, the free throws are kind of what the difference in the game, but like we said, we should have a good amount of Purdue fans there. It should sound loud at least. And then if we win that game, we'll play the winner of Villanova and Winthrop, and that will, I believe, be played either at Bankers Life or Hinkle Fieldhouse, because they're doing it. The first round winners are going to play in a different venue in the second round. So, which is interesting,
because Winthrop and Nova are playing over at the Coliseum. And I think they just don't want to have one team have the advantage of already playing in that venue over the other team. So why not just move them to? Especially, it's so easy.
Yep.
Obviously you're typically in the same venue in a normal year, so there's no advantage, or how much of advantage that really is. Who knows? But I like it. I'd love to see us in Hinkle. If we play Villanova, they can't win in Hinkle, so that would be cool. But yeah, it's tournament. I can't believe the tournament's already here.
Yeah, the season's flown by. I'm still nervous about all the COVID going on. Still, you got Kansas and Virginia, especially, that have some players kind of iffy right now. I just hope everybody's able to play, and they don't have stars out or anything.
The number 1 seed has to withdraw, and freaking Louisville gets the number 1 seed.
Or talking earlier to my other podcast co-host, his nightmares, Drexel gets COVID, and then all of a sudden Illinois is playing a 16 seed Louisville. Wouldn't that be terrible? If you're an Illinois fan,
just feel so bad for him.
Oh, it'd be awful. Or if somebody's best player gets it through the tournament and takes their chances out.
That's the real concern is, someone, which you think if you get there, if you get to the tournament, you should be good. If not, then there's been a serious breach of there's been a lack of focus, somebody, and that's, it's just one of those things where you just got to buckle down and hope you're playing for a couple of weeks and playing into April. I mean, we just saw the news. I texted to our group chat with a bunch of buddies where a bunch of officials went out to dinner or something, and now, like, including TV Teddy, and now they had to be sent home because of breaking the bubble and whatnot. It's just stupid, man.
Yeah,
If it happened
fingers
to
crossed.
Bo Browski, yeah, it would be awesome. But now the fact we're gonna have like Bo Browski do every single game of the tournament.
I guarantee you he'll be at Lucas Oil Friday night. I'm already ready for it.
Yeah.
Prepare myself. But nope, great to be back in the tournament again. Keep the streak going because last year's tournament didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I really like our draw. I like this matchup against North Texas. I watched them a little bit against Western Kentucky in the Conference USA final. They struggled defense all year long until the week of the Conference USA tournament. Then they ramped up their defense somehow. And that was kind of the difference maker. But they shoot a lot of threes. Like we were saying, they're not too tall. Their center 6'8", 6'9", so about Travion's height. But of course, we have a 7'4" guy that helps. But I feel good. I feel good about Purdue's chances. I think Purdue wins pretty easily.
Really? Yeah. I mean, what worries me is the 3-point because I think they shoot. I think about 37% of their shots are from three, and they shoot it pretty well. Actually, someone on Twitter. Should probably just give credit to where credit's due. Joe Blauvelt, I'm sorry for mispronouncing him if you are a listener. Thanks for listening. He says that he did some comparisons or was looking them up. They shoot 37.2% of the team's attempts are threes, and they shoot 37.6% from three. So a high clip. I believe they're one of like the bottom teams in terms of pace. So my guess is probably just. I mean, you've watched them, so you can tell me if they just probably work the ball around a ton and wait for the open shot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the defense is going to be key. Would love to maybe speed the game up a little bit because it's definitely more our forte when you get Ivy out there. I think that's one of those things. I think it's one of those. And I was telling you and Andrew in our group chat. I think it's a game where we're sweating bullets, like a Little Rock type game where they're getting the bounces, or we win like by 20. I think it's if we can clamp down and make it a struggle for them. I think definitely our size and our physicality will definitely hopefully be a struggle for them. But yeah, I'd just love just an easy win.
It would be nice.
Get that one.
It would be nice. I mean, I'm trying to think back. We had that easy win in 2011 when we were a 3 seed and played 14 seed St. Peter's.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, that's about the only easy NCAA tournament win I can remember Purdue having.
Ended up being a kind of a disaster, but when Haas got hurt, Cal State Fullerton, I think that was
Fullerton. I completely forgot about that game. Yeah. And even our last tournament run, Old Dominion wasn't too much of a challenge in the first round, and then we smashed Villanova in the second round. So what am I talking about? But speaking of Villanova, we might meet them again in round 2 if we win and they win. We're getting to know them pretty well. Mm-hmm. And as Nicole's pointing out, we smoked Villanova 2 years ago. That's my fault. How could I forget that one? We're getting to know them pretty well. I mean, we saw them in the tournament 2 years ago. We saw them at Mackey a few years ago in the Gava games. We're going to see them next year in a preseason tournament along with North Carolina and Tennessee, which will be a fun one. So,
do you think they get past Winthrop? Because that's a sexy pick for a 12 over 5.
I have Winthrop in my bracket. A lot of people have Winthrop in the 12-5. Winthrop only lost one game this year. They're a very solid team. But usually, like, whenever the one's the sexiest 12-5, it doesn't happen, it seems like.
Right.
But I went with it.
Did Villanova lose another guy, or was it – because I know they lost Gillespie, which sucks for them. I mean, it was interesting to see how they were going to get treated, kind of like how we did with Robbie when Robbie got hurt. But I thought there was one other guy that they lost in their conference tourney.
I think they have another guy banged up, but they still have 6 guys that were ranked in the top 60. So, I mean, they're still extremely talented and got one of the best coaches out there, Jay Wright. Yeah. But if I had to pick who I think Purdue will play, if as long as we win, I think it will be Winthrop.
Which I know nothing about Winthrop either. I mean, obviously you said they're solid. They've won a lot. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those where we love the way the bracket kind of fell for us and just the possibilities. But I mean, everybody's in the tournament for a reason.
You're right, and that's what Matt Painter hit on yesterday. I mean, you can, if you're focused in, you can beat anybody in the tournament, but you can also lose to anybody because everybody's there for a reason. I mean, some teams like Georgetown and Oregon State got hot and won their conference tournaments. They wouldn't have been otherwise, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
And then if we happen to get past that game, then we're looking at Sweet 16 for the fourth straight year, fourth straight tournament. So, which
Which
would
most
be
likely be against Baylor, which,
most likely
yeah.
Baylor, Wisconsin, or North Carolina, or I'm not even going to put the 16 seed in there because it could be Baylor. I think it's Hartford, I think,
I
off the
can't
top of
remember.
my head.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Which we've had history with Baylor in NCAA tournament before. Came out right for the good guys.
Right.
So, but I thought we'd be a four seed. So I was glad to see us on that 4 seed line. That's where
I think we're the number 2 4 seed. I think that's what came out because we were number 14.
14 overall. Yep.
Yes, I think we're the number 2 4 seed.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You would have told me in November we're going to be the 14th overall seed. I would say you're nuts.
Yeah. It's been a fun ride.
Especially after that Miami game. I didn't think we were making the tournament. So,
Ye of little faith.
yeah, I know it. What were your thoughts on the Big Ten awards? We didn't talk about that last week.
Oh God, it feels like a lifetime ago.
It does.
So what? Our player of the year was Luka, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to agree. We talked about it briefly before. I mean, Io being out those couple of games, and the fact that Illinois played well without him, definitely I think hurt his chances. But I think Io's the best player in the conference. But I agree with the award. I do. I mean, I have no qualms about Howard being coach of the year. I mean, what he did with Michigan this year was pretty incredible. Obviously, with them being, ranked around or projected about where we were too. The fact that he was able to dominate the way they did. They did stumble a little bit down the stretch, but still, no one saw that coming. The fact that I was nothing Trey's going to get first team All Big Ten by either coaches or media, so I'm glad the coaches got it right. So that was an awesome surprise. I expected 2 of our guys to be freshmen, our all freshman team. I see with the way that Newman really struggled down the stretch, and Gillis just wasn't consistent enough, or just didn't. I just don't think he put up the numbers that you typically would be flashy enough to be on a all freshman team. The fact that Eric Hunter did not get even on all defensive team, I think is a crime. I don't understand what the hell they were looking at. I mean, he shut down guys like Marcus Carr, and was awesome all year. I thought he was pretty consistent defensively. Was that it? I think it's about the main one.
That was it.
Yeah.
Everything we were on. So
yeah.
Yep.
Sasha got like sportsmanship award for the team or something like that, which But I mean, we had some good representation. It's just so funny to looking back, and when we think last year and recruiting, and the fact that we missed out on guys like Dickinson and the kid who ended up going to Creighton. I can't remember his name anymore. There's a kid who we were recruiting, Carlson, who went to Wisconsin. I
forgot about him.
Played a whole lot this year. I mean, they're got a bunch of 30-year-olds on their team, so
they can all come back next year if they want to.
Yeah, and the fact that we go out and get some player ranked in the 400s who's an obvious redshirt project, and the fact that he comes in and gets all freshman team is incredible, which was really cool. And just the fact that what Ivy's done, which we all kind of thought he was going to be pretty impressive, but he's been awesome.
Yeah, I think we can make a good argument this is Matt Painter's best coaching job.
Yeah,
if not, it's right up there.
I mean, that, and you can always make the argument of 2019 or 2018, 2019, just because of the fact that we had, we were starting to freaking walk on. I guess more just like perception of like the pieces that we had, the fact that we just lost 4 seniors.
We did have a walking bucket though on our team.
Yes, we did.
But he struggled. He struggled for majority of the year.
He struggled, especially the back half of it. So it was like going in. It was like, God, are we even gonna? We need Carson to play really well. Otherwise, we're gonna be struggling. Because I remember he very inefficient. I remember I think the Indiana game, he attacked 16 shots, made 4 of them or something like that. And he did not shoot very well. But then we all know what happened in the tournament. But then you could argue that one, and the fact that we had a bunch of, we were playing Trey, who was a freshman, Hunter was a true freshman, Wheeler was a redshirt freshman, Sasha was a redshirt freshman, so still pretty young in that regard. But having Carson, Klein, and someone like Grady helped too. But I think this year definitely for sure is his best. But you have a couple years that can make the argument.
Yeah, I guess just from a low expectations,
right?
sort of thing this year. It was probably his best, but of course, the first year with the baby Boilers too, nobody really expected Purdue to compete for a Big Ten championship that year.
Right.
They were pretty close from winning it, so it's a good conversation to have. It's a good topic to speak on when you have multiple years you can put up. I don't know if this was coach year this year. Some programs don't have that luxury.
Right.
So, anything else you wanted to cover as far as Purdue's matchup with the tournament and their draw?
No, not really. I mean, the fact that there's a potential to meet Ohio State again, obviously, wouldn't be until the Elite Eight is.
Sign me up.
It'd be awesome, yeah, but I'd be so nervous because I know we can beat them, but it would suck to lose to them. Just kind of like a 2000 scenario of losing to Wisconsin to go to a Final Four. Just like losing to a Big Ten opponent with a chance to go to the Final Four would suck. But
it would.
But then if we could go back-to-back Elite Eights, I think that'd be pretty.
Yeah, I'll take it right now. Sign me up to give us the opportunity.
Here we are again talking about expectations, but let's just win one.
Yeah, I mean, 9 Big Ten teams in. Like I said, I think the draw is good for quite a few of them. I'm trying to think.
How many do you think make the Sweet 16?
Well, I was trying to think in my head how many I have out of the brackets I filled out so far. I had Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Ohio State, Michigan.
Okay.
I did not have Maryland. I did not have Rutgers. I did not have Michigan State. Who am I forgetting?
Do you think they win tomorrow?
Michigan State? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I have BYU beating them, but it wouldn't shock me for them to beat BYU too.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I forgetting? Oh, Wisconsin. I don't have them. I don't have them winning a game.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I have 5, I guess. Sweet 16.
How many in the Final Four?
1.
Illinois.
Yep. In one of my brackets.
Yeah.
In one bracket, I don't have them. I don't have any Michigan or any Big Ten teams. I have in the Elite Eight. I have. I think I have Ohio State, Illinois, and Iowa.
Iowa going to the Elite Eight. Okay.
Yeah. I have them beating Kansas in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I don't know about. I mean, Iowa's weird for me.
Very weird. But
I haven't filled out a bracket yet, but it's just, I mean, the Wieskamp is okay, and
he gets another week of rest.
Yep,
that's going to help him. I mean, Iowa's going to be a weird matchup for teams outside the Big Ten.
Right.
Georgia's going to be a mismatch for a lot.
That's what I keep forgetting. But it's like a lot of these teams, like we're so used to playing these teams a couple times. We're just so used to it. You know, a game plan for them. But you like a North Texas, like. Have they seen a 7-4 guy ever? Like in the conference? Probably not. So it's like just.
You're right. I mean,
it's like and plus you hopefully get away from some of these Big Ten officials that are garbage, but then also it's like God, they know how to officiate a guy who's 7-4. So who the hell knows? But that's where I think I kind of forget. And that reminds me a lot of like the Villanova game because they could not handle our offense because it was off to the races with our offense against Villanova in 2019.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with the Big Ten. I mean, I could see the Big Ten having a lot of teams right there for the Final Four or none.
Yeah.
So we'll see. 9 teams. I think that ties the second most. I think Big East had 11 in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I had a laugh. Josh Pastner on the radio the other day said he thought, I don't remember, it was 11 or 12 ACC teams should make the tournament. He was kind of dogging the Big Ten a little bit. So, like, come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. I think there'll definitely be some upsets. I read an interesting stat that 33 of the 35 years since the tournament's expanded, there's been a double-digit seed to make the Sweet 16, including the last 15 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, it's why it makes it so fun, but also so frustrating as a fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's like we've always talked about, would you rather win a basketball championship or a football championship? And football definitely be harder because you have to literally be the best, whereas basketball you just got to get in and hope to get hot. Things fall your way. A team gets upset early that knocks out, top seed gets knocked out, so you get their path or whatever it may be. But it's definitely the most fun playoff we get to experience.
Absolutely. And before we switch topics, why don't you let us know what Mad Mush has got going on?
I had it up. And that's the wrong tab. All right. As is every week, the Boiler Breakdown is brought to you by Mad Mushroom. Serving Boilermakers since 1993, Mad Mushroom is located in the heart of West Lafayette and is well known as the home of the original cheese sticks. Whenever I like to visit, I like to sit down, have an ice cold beer while enjoying their latest pizza of the month, which it's still March. Earlier this morning I thought it was April for whatever stupid reason. So I was like, we don't have the new pizza of the month yet, but it's still March. Only halfway through, and it's the spaghetti and meatball, which is their signature pasta sauce, topped with spaghetti noodles, meatballs, mozzarella cheese, and finished with a garlic and Parmesan crust. Next time you're in town, stop by, tell them Boiler Breakdown sent you for $5 off any order over $20. And any Boiler Breakdown listener can also use the coupon code BREAK5, that's all caps, BREAK5, to claim your discount online at madmushroom.com. Mad Mushroom, feed your head. Friday night, get some pizza. Watch the Boilers win.
Exactly. 7:45 tip. So
send them to Indianapolis for me.
Get some cheese sticks before the game, at halftime, after the game.
I'll be coming back from Illinois that day for work, so I might just have to dip down to Lafayette, stop with some cheese sticks, and go home before the game starts.
Yeah, that sounds so good right now. So good right now. Well, Purdue basketball also had some other news today. I think it is officially reported now. Assistant coach Micah Shrewsbury is going to be the new head coach at Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Penn State even announced it. I know Micah even had a little video for it. It's one of those things that I think we definitely saw the writing on the wall, just with the fact that, I mean, credit Painter for what the job he's done, and being able to bring in, high-level assistants and giving opportunity to shine and kind of really show what they're about. So that they can get the opportunity to take a high level job. I think I'm definitely surprised it's such a high level job for an assistant, because we saw like Greg Gary get the Mercer job. You saw Jack Owens get Miami, Ohio. That's what I was kind of expecting, was like an Indiana State type job, especially with Painter being so close with their AD. But I mean, why not take your job? First job and be the Big Ten. It's gonna be a tough job. Obviously, it's a very, very tough. I feel like it's not that high pressure job just because it's such a football school. And I don't know, I just feel
it's a tough job, but it's not impossible. I mean, they were going to make the tourney last year.
Yeah, I mean, then you can, if you can establish, obviously you got to compete against Villanova, but like for the Philly kids, that was something that Pat Chambers did, but not ethically or not. I
don't know if he followed the rules, but
I mean, Philly's got a bunch of great players. Please God, don't steal Jameel Brown from us.
Robert Rainey on Facebook says better results the last 5 years than IU. Touche.
No lie detected there. But I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I feel gross cheering for Penn State just because of just their past of their athletic department. But if anybody's going to, turn that around and make me like them, it's Micah. I think he's a great coach.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
It's gonna be cool to see, to watch Purdue, compete against them in the coming years, and especially when he comes back to Mackey. I mean, it's crazy because he wasn't at Purdue a whole lot for many years. I think he did 1 year stint earlier, like in 2012.
12, I believe. Yeah. Celtics.
Yep, with Stevens, and then obviously came back last year. And I mean, I think he was in charge of the offense, and the offense this year has been fun to watch, especially when you get a playmaker like Ivy in there. And yeah, it's cool. I mean, I hate losing because I would love for him to be one more year. Most are just for recruiting and being selfish as a Purdue fan. But I mean, especially with the way that things have been going, there's going to be a line of, you hope, top persistence wanting this job. And I think just the way that Painter's done things and runs things, people really respect him. So it's gonna be really cool to see who we can pull in to kind of step in for that role. I assume probably run the offense as well, and obviously want a good recruiter. And do you think we'll see Lutz depart as well after this year?
I think it just depends what jobs. One thing that kind of clicked in my head today was, I was having a tough time deciding if I wanted to pick Creighton or not in the tournament, and they got a lot of things going on with their coach who is back coaching. Could they make a switch in the offseason? If so, could he be a candidate for that job since he was a longtime assistant there?
Yep. I think he definitely wants to it sounds like he wants to get back probably to the the South or wherever. I know he's from that area, so He's not a great, candidate. I mean, if your assistants are getting plucked up for head coaching jobs, you're doing something right.
Yep.
So, I mean, I hated when we lost Konzo. I hated when we lost Paul Lusk. I hated when we lost, Greg Gary.
Rick Ray, Greg Gary, Jack Owens.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been able to filter them through. So
coaching tree's growing. Like I said, it is a bummer when you lose one, but I think Painter's so respected around the college basketball world that we're going to get somebody good in there. Hopefully they can hit the ground running with recruits. So
future Purdue assistant Archie Miller. I don't know.
I don't want that guy on our program. Yeah, Matt's buddies with everybody.
That's true. Yeah.
So, Archie Miller out down south after a $10.35 million buyout. Pocket change for somebody who owns the Dallas Mavericks.
I heard that he had no part in it. So I was reading somewhere that he was reported saying like he had wanted no part of this.
I don't believe a word he says, but I've seen him on Shark Tank. I don't believe a word he says, but no. The thing that's interesting, of course, he comes to your mind right away, but also the AD said something about the building named after Cuban on campus. He brought that up in the same press conference, so it's kind of like,
interesting.
I think Dolson did it on purpose, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be way off. But anyways, Indiana's looking for a new head coach. And
I saw a tweet today. It was like the 5 Big Ten teams didn't make the tournament, and 3 of them have fired their coach, which I was trying to think, okay, you got Indiana, Minnesota. I was trying to think of the third, and I was like, I think they're talking about Penn State.
Yeah, because the interim guy he interviewed, but he
did a good job, man. It was just a
tough circumstances.
Tough situation. I mean, he did the best with what he was dealt. I mean, a tough conference this year, and I thought they had some really good players on their team. So Mike was definitely stepping into a good position. But good. So who's left? We got Nebraska. I don't think Hoiberg. Hoiberg might jump ship and go somewhere else. He wants to.
Who knows?
Iowa State or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
They open back up, and then Chris Collins, who the hell knows what's going on up there?
Yeah, I think it's right to give him at least another year. I mean, heck, he's done something that nobody else in that school's history has done, but he hasn't followed up that year with any momentum whatsoever. So
not at all.
I don't know. I mean, Fran gets a contract extension today at Iowa, which I get it, but I thought they might wait to make sure he can at least get them to the Sweet 16.
Right.
The group. They haven't made the Sweet 16 since 1999.
Oh, yeah, this was a year that they were like obviously top 5 coming into the year, and you didn't win the Big Ten, and you didn't win the Big Ten tournament. So it's like, I mean, you got a 2 seed, which is awesome, but like if you get bouncing around to 6 of 32, like holy crap, that is. I
mean, you're talking about a program. They haven't won a Big Ten tournament, I don't believe, since 2001. And they haven't won the Big Ten since 1770 or 1970, 1979. Yeah, it's nuts. And they've had a lot of good teams.
Yeah, and a lot of good players, and
So we'll see. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who those losers down south get. I think they got somebody in mind, if not already lined up and agreed upon. Because
I've heard. I was reading somewhere because that was the thing what made things weird today. Was just all. I mean. Listening to the radio, it's all they were freaking talking about.
Don't do it. That's what made me frustrated today. It was like, this should be the day everybody's celebrating NCAA tournament being in Indiana. Purdue's the one state school going, and then it's all about IU since they fired their coach.
Right. But there was so many names thrown around. And
there's going to be.
Yeah. Supposedly I read that. I was reading something that there's supposedly a handshake agreement already done, and they're just waiting. It's like, okay, is that because they're still coaching. So it's like, okay, who would that be? Because you'd think if it was someone like a Thad Matta or a Beeline, you just do it. But then also someone posts that because it's a public school, they have to let it sit for 2 weeks or something. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea.
Well, I do think there is something with you have the job posted for a duration of time. I do think that is in the rules, but yeah, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to speculate too much. I kind of have some names in mind, but I don't know. But we do know a few names that have come out and said it's not going to be that. NATO supposedly squashed it right away, said he wasn't interested.
He was, I think, really good. I thought he was one I was kind of afraid of.
I will say the only name that really scares me, Brad Stevens, and I don't think that's going to happen. Robert on Facebook says, hopefully a phenomenal coach using them to land a raise out of his current job.
Yeah, it'd be smart. I mean, why not? I mean, that's what I mean. I know Oates has got like a $12 million buyout. Why not just like raise your buyout at the very least, so that way if you ever do get fired, you're getting paid.
Yeah, he sounds like he really likes it down there. It's only his second year at Alabama,
I mean,
so
it's not a high pressure job down there. I mean,
it's always going to be a football school. I mean,
always
look
football school.
ask Mike Bray how that goes. You know, I mean, he's done pretty well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens down there. But Tristan Painter, I mean, he's been getting in-state recruits and dominating IU for last handful of years. So hopefully he keeps it going, and the Boilermakers' future looks bright. So I'm not too concerned right now.
No.
Their fan base is a little delusional, in my opinion.
A little?
I was trying to be a little nice just in case a few of our buddies might be watching, but I mean, they're going to be pouting enough later this week when they're not in the tournament, and one of their ex-coaches, Calvin Sampson's, coaching in that building Friday night. So
that's it was that, and then you got Chris Beard coaching down there too. So it's like, I know he's a name that's been thrown around.
Yeah,
that's funny, just how they work out like that. There's quite a few big teams playing in Mackey this week. It's Michigan State in the first four. You got, I think, Wisconsin's playing. I think there's another one. Maybe.
Michigan.
Okay. Which is weird. I did not think they would do that. I thought for sure they would try and stick the Big Ten teams.
Maryland,
elsewhere.
I believe.
Was it?
There's definitely another Big Ten team.
Yeah, there was quite a few, and I was really surprised. I thought for sure they would put the Big Ten teams elsewhere just because of its familiarity. I mean, granted, one game a year, but still, it's more so than. I mean, UCLA's coming to Mackey for the first time since like 1967, since the first game of Mackey of the new Mackey Arena. So it's cool.
But like I was thinking, it's different when there's 1,500 fans and maybe divided instead of 15,000 Purdue fans against you. So I don't know if it matters that much. I mean, I would say the biggest challenge is Lucas Oil with the shooting backgrounds, unless you already played there, which thank goodness we've got a game under our belt there. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be a tournament unlike anything we've ever seen. So, and hopefully never see again.
Right. Knock on wood.
Before we close the show with one more topic, I need to let everybody know that the Boiler Breakdown is also sponsored by Webb's Family Pharmacy. Webb's Family Pharmacy is an independently owned community pharmacy with stores located in Rochester, Akron, and North Manchester, Indiana. Webb's Family Pharmacy has a caring staff that can help you with all of your high-quality medical equipment, supplies, and pharmacy services. You can check out them online at www.webrx.com, or you can give them a call for more details on anything you have questions with. Webb's Family Pharmacy, the professional pharmacy with a hometown touch. Boiler owned and operated. Some other news, Boilermaker related, around the sports world yesterday.
And Tanner's might cut out. I think it was. Gotcha. Nope. This is where I vamp and just start talking. What Tanner was going to say is Boilermaker legend. Yes, I got nothing, Tan. Boilermaker legend, former quarterback Drew Brees announced his retirement from the NFL. Something that I think we all saw coming, but definitely is a sad moment when it came to fruition. Just being the fact that he's definitely been the poster child for Purdue football in the NFL for a very long time, since he got drafted in 2001, which is crazy. He's been in the league that long after everything that he was coming out of college and not getting the respect that he obviously ultimately deserved in the end. But it was weird. It was a really definitely a sad moment. I know for me, I think I was definitely more sad when he lost his final game against Tampa Bay. But this definitely kind of put the nail in the coffin. It kind of just sucks, just because part of it is just knowing that we don't really have anybody else that's great in the NFL for now, until this draft coming up when Rondale Moore goes somewhere and makes a splash. But I mean, he was one of the few faces of the NFL, and a great one at that. It wasn't like he was big for the wrong reasons. He did everything the right way. And it was just a really great ambassador for Purdue. Loved Purdue. Came back to Purdue even during the down years. And it just sucks to see him walk away, especially knowing that I really wanted him to get a couple more rings. I think he deserved a couple more rings. That's just the way the game's, the way it happens sometimes.
Yeah, apologize to cut out there live recording. You never know what's going to happen. So I didn't get to hear everything you said there, but
I just kind of talk about how, obviously he, I want to just kind of surprise at just the longevity of his career. I think he came out in 2001 from Purdue and wasn't really, obviously he was a first round, second round, or first pick of the second round, but, definitely wasn't given the credit that he ultimately, demanded by the end of his career. People thought he was too small to play in the NFL, and obviously got the injury that happened in San Diego and kind of came to New Orleans at his lowest point. They took a chance on him. He took a chance on them. It was a city that was literally rebuilding from Hurricane Katrina, and it sucks to see him go. But I mean, just what a phenomenal career.
Oh, you're right. I mean, phenomenal career, phenomenal ambassador for the university. I know you mentioned he's come back during our low times as a program. Hopefully he can do it a little more even. I don't know if that's possible, but to try to get Purdue back to competing for Big Ten championships, whether it's helping like with recruiting a little bit, or from like a pitching standpoint or something. But one thing Drew's done is he's paved the way for smaller quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, Johnny Manziel, even though he didn't pan out, Baker Mayfield, quarterbacks like that. Because before Drew, everybody looked at Doug Flutie as a small quarterback, but Flutie was kind of more of the. He had Flutie flakes and like promotional things, but he was never a guy that the franchise wanted to, piggyback off of, I guess you could say. He was a spot starter for the Bills and then the Chargers, but he was never that guy that could sustain it for many years. So Drew's kind of paved the way, because before Drew, it was like, you're not over 6 foot. We don't want you playing quarterback.
Yeah, you can't sit in the line. We want the typical, Peyton Manning style, 6'5", whatever he is, laser rocket arm.
Robert here on Facebook says he got to outlast Phil Rivers, even if only by a few weeks. Yeah, the guy who replaced him in San Diego.
Yeah.
So it's wild. We see Breeze and Rivers hanging it up, and Tom Brady's still signing contract extensions.
So Aaron Rodgers. Obviously Aaron's a few years younger than Breeze, but
Ben's probably about 1 year. Ben Roethlisberger's probably about 1 year away. Saw Eli Manning a year ago, hang him up. Tony Romo not too long ago. And speaking of Romo, Drew Brees is going to get right into his post-football career, and that's with NBC Sports. He's going to be a football analyst for them. He's going to be the in-studio, he's going to be a game analyst for Notre Dame, which is going to be disgusting. But at least he gets to commentate when the Boilers play them in Week 3. And then he's going to be the in-studio guy for Football Night in America. They're going to groom him to take over on Sunday Night Football eventually with Tirico and get Michaels and Collinsworth out of there eventually, but it's going to be a little process.
Yeah, he's going to be great at it. I thought it was a pretty cool video that he posted yesterday with his kids. That was pretty funny. But why not? He's had a hell of a career, and he's going to be successful. Continue being successful outside of football. Outside of playing football, he's still going to be around the game a lot. But it would be really cool if he can come back more often and really be a part of the program. I think he'd like to do that, but I think it's going to be tough right away just because of, NBC's going to pay him a lot of money. So keep making it while you can. Sure,
because he's going to be working Notre Dame home games and then every Sunday night in the studio, so it might be tough for him to get back, at least to begin with. But get those Breeze boys, their arms going, and we can have some future quarterbacks in the cradle.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But one thing I know you kind of hit on is I'm glad Drew did get his one Super Bowl ring in his only appearance. I feel like he was, I don't want to say screwed out of, but just had some bad luck in not getting to a few others. Of course, the miracle in the Metrodome. The Rams one, which he was screwed. The ref screwed the Saints in that one. There was a few other that the Saints teams were ready to rock and roll, I think, and win the Super Bowl, but they just couldn't get there. And the Saints were trying, tried to get him Emmanuel Sanders and trying to put some pieces around him, but just couldn't get over the hump for whatever reason. So
it's the NFL. It's crazy. You've seen some greats never win a Super
Marino.
Bowl. Yeah, Marino, and you see guys like freaking played for the Ravens, Trent Dilfer.
Yep.
Win a Super Bowl. So
Brad Johnson won one with Tampa Bay. Favre made made 2, but he only won 1.
Yep.
And after he lost the second one, Super Bowl 32 to the Broncos, he kind of shrugged it off. I'll be back to multiple.
Yeah, I mean, that was like,
Nope.
yeah, I mean, I know, like, I'm just crazy listening to like Pat McAfee. He talked about his rookie year. He was the Super Bowl against the Saints. And he's like, they lost. Like, all right, we'll be back, and they never went back.
Can't take it for granted.
Can't take it for granted. So it's. I mean, I saw the Bears go Super Bowl in 05 or I guess 06, and hope to God I get to see them do it again before I die. But that remains to be seen. So it's.
They're still looking for a quarterback. They have been since Sid Luckman, so nothing strange there.
You know what? Breeze has come on back. We could use it.
But
it's. I mean, the fact that he won 1, it was incredible.
Yep.
I remember watching that game, with you and some of our buddies, and it was really cool. Just the fact that he got 1 and got to be on that stage and have a guy representing our university, on the highest level of the top, the highest level of the stage of football is pretty cool.
Absolutely. You got to see him against the Bears, right?
Twice.
Twice.
Yep. He whooped their butts both times.
I never saw him as a Saint. I got to see him as a Charger against the Colts once.
Yeah, because I went in 2013, and that was the first Bears game I've ever been to, which was cool, especially going with my dad, who had never been to a Bears game either. And the fact that we got to see it against Breeze was who I hadn't seen play since probably 2000. So it was crazy. It was pretty surreal and really cool. Just the fact that you got to see it. It was just one of those games where I really didn't care who won. Just like I was watching Breeze and seeing my team play for the first time live.
I know a lot of Purdue fans got to go back to rooting for the original NFL team, or if they didn't have one, find one, unless they want to stick with the Saints. I mean, that's cool too. But
Rondell get drafted by someone. So hopefully, it's not like.
I had the Saints. I had him going to the Saints on my mock draft, so I still think that'd be a good spot for him. They need a speedy wide receiver, slot wide receiver like him. But it would have been so much sweeter if it was Breeze throwing him passes, not Hill or Winston. But yeah, so many memories in the pros, and of course in college. That whole 2000 season is so memorable. Of course, you had the Ohio State game, which was still the most raucous environment I've ever seen, including the 2018 Ohio State game. That 2000 Ohio State game was something else, but you had to come back against Michigan. You had the blocked field goal in overtime against Wisconsin. Of course, the Rose Bowl clinching game against Indiana.
The Alma Bowls,
the Alma Bowls. So many crazy records and games and memories. I mean, he was a 2-time Offensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, his junior and senior years. So, just very thankful that we caught lightning in the bottle, and Joe Tiller recognized there was a talented kid down in Texas that everybody was overlooking.
Yep, trouble coming off of a couple knee injuries and undersized QB, and I mean it's that video that the Purdue football Twitter put out was or I guess the football program put out on all the platforms, but that was a pretty cool tribute, and just showed how much he loves the program. Yep,
very lucky to have a guy like him. And he's always arguably, I mean, some people have him on their Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, and if not on Mount Rushmore, he's probably definitely top 10. I mean, you can make an argument usually. I think, in my opinion, 3 of the Mount Rushmore are pretty solid with Brady, Montana, and Manning. The 4th is always a good argument, in my opinion. There's a lot of guys you can argue for, and he's right there in that group.
That's pretty cool.
To be honest, I thought he'd be an okay NFL quarterback. I never would have imagined he was going to be a bona fide Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I remember when he was in. I mean, we were young when he was in San Diego. I was just like, it's just cool to see. That was my first, realizing that a Purdue player was in the NFL. It was just cool just to see, and then obviously, what happened in San Diego. But then when he went to New Orleans, it was like, holy crap! Like this is awesome.
Well, it's wild. I mean, I was in 3rd grade. You were in 2nd grade when he got drafted.
Yeah.
And he's hanging it up now.
Yeah. Which is like all scary in its own right. It's just like, oh God. Like,
no.
We got guys like him, then the guys like LeBron's getting old. Man, when he was drafted, like, we were,
I know.
Middle school when he was drafted. It's just like, God.
We're hitting that time where a lot of the guys we grew up watching are retiring, but yet Tom Brady won't go away.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And then you got Patty Mahomes going to terrorize your Broncos for a decade.
No, we're not talking about that. Oh, God. Yeah. Nightmares. Well, before we wrap this up, I need to mention that the Boiler Breakdown is also brought to you by Schroff Landscaping Nurseries. Trophy Landscaping has been in business for over 50 years and can handle all of your landscaping needs, including landscape design, maintenance, irrigation, hardscaping, cleanup, and they are licensed lawn applicators. Contact them today for all of your landscaping needs at 574-223-2769. Trophy Landscaping Design with you in mind. And if your yard is anywhere like mine, it got beat up over the winter. The wind the last few days has helped blowing things all around, so it's a mess. I need to give them a call and have them help me out a little bit. And if you're looking for a job, I believe Schroff Landscaping is still hiring. They're hiring actually multiple landscape labor positions. You can email them a resume at schrofflandscaping@gmail.com. It'll be a seasonal full-time position Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and pay is based off of experience. So give them an email, schrofflandscaping@gmail.com if you're interested in that kind of work. All right, Webby, any final thoughts to wrap us up as we head into the NCAA tournament Friday night, round one?
I mean, this is definitely the best time of year, at least sports-wise. You got the tournament, it's starting to get, aside from today in the Midwest, it's usually typically getting warmer out. I know for you, being a big golf fan, the Masters, even maybe someone who's not a golfer, the Masters is always really cool.
Yeah,
that's coming up. You got baseball, spring training going on right now. Baseball, it's always a great time of year. I think you can definitely tell people.
Got NFL season and the draft. I always enjoy that. So
people got a little more pep in their step and getting lighter or staying lighter later. And but in terms of Purdue, just get one game. I think everything else is gravy. And it's just thankful that we're back in the tournament, or I guess still in the tournament because last year didn't count.
Yep, glad we're the lone representative from the state again, like we were in 2019. And hopefully we can, like you said, at least win one game. And we'll be coming back to you next week, though. Hopefully it's a Sweet 16 preview and not a season ending recap. But either way, we'll be back next week. And we appreciate everybody that has tuned in for all of our episodes throughout the season, too. We love to bring you guys these broadcasts every week. And if you haven't subscribed to our podcast already, wherever you're listening to on your audio platform of choice, please hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That helps us out a lot. You can find us on all the social medias at Boiler Break Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can give us a like there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channels, which we post all these videos on there, archived, and we even have a Twitch channel. You can find a lot of our content on there as well. So we're wherever you want to find us, you can find us at the Boiler Breakdown Podcast. And looking forward to the tournament. Like you said, it's best time of year. It's fun, and I'm glad we're the night game so I can enjoy all the other games in peace during the day before I get stressed out.
During work, so that's what I'm. That's
a good point too. I luckily put in to have Friday and next Monday off just because
there you go. Yep.
I have some days and I want to watch games.
I was telling someone I'm going to do that each year, and I always forget, and then it keeps up being. It's like, I should have done that. And then I'll be off all next week, but I'll be in Colorado.
I think it was 2018 was the last year I didn't do. Well, last year I put in, and then when the tournament wouldn't happen, I took them back. But 2018 I worked through it, and I was too distracted during work. Yeah. I'm like, I should have this is stupid. I should have taken the day off.
Yeah.
But let's boiler up, hammer down, and beat the Mean Green.
Boiler up.